Hi, this is Kim Reads Urantia. Hi, I'm Kim. I'm back to my prototypical visage, plus red hair. As you can see, I think it turned out pretty good, It's pretty red. That's what I like it. Okay, so I'm going to read first from Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey. This is Saint Francis de Sales, who was a French bishop who died in 1622, and he was known for being very um, gentle. He wasn't. I don't know, because it was his time of division between the Protestants and the Catholics, and he was very kind toward the Protestants, which are supposed to be, of course, the adversaries, bad guys, because he's a Catholic, but I guess he was, I don't know the details, but that's, we're supposed to be kind to our enemies, Yeah. And he was canonized for that, so. All right. May I be like one of those small children who, with one hand, hold on to their father, and with the other, pick strawberries and blackberries along the hedges. Oh, that's just sweet. That's just sweet and lovely. Yeah, so that's what we're like. We hold on to our father with one hand, and with the other hand, we're doing things, we're finding good things in this world, and building upon them and enjoying our life, and learning. Yeah. And it's innocent, pure of heart. We have to be like little children to get into the kingdom and trust our Father. Hold our Father's hand, and He'll let us know if that's something dangerous. You shouldn't be picking that. Somehow He'll let us know that. And I'm starting to come to believe that more and more. That was hard for me to believe at first. Yeah. But now I'm beginning to believe that. Okay, we're starting paper 195 today. Okay, and this is about after Pentecost. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and there's little smuts on my screen. Okay, all right. Okay, the results of Peter's preaching on the day of Pentecost were such as to decide the future policies and to determine the plans of the majority of the apostles in their efforts to proclaim the gospel of the kingdom. Peter was the real founder of the Christian church. Paul carried the Christian message to the Gentiles, and the Greek believers carried it to the whole Roman Empire. Although the tradition-bound and priest-ridden Hebrews, as a people, refused to accept either Jesus' gospel of the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man, or Peter's and Paul's proclamation of the resurrection and ascension of Christ, subsequent Christianity, the rest of the Roman Empire was found to be receptive to the evolving Christian teachings. Okay. Yeah, Peter and Paul. Well, I'm thinking of candy bars now. Isn't that candy bars? Peter, Paul. Yeah, something. Oh, gosh, all these things. Isn't that candy bars? Peter, Paul. Why does that ring a bell? I don't know. Okay. So the Roman Empire was receptive. The Jews weren't. They had to break with the Jews eventually. Western civilization was at this time intellectual, war-weary, and thoroughly skeptical of all existing religions and universe philosophies. Okay, what does that remind you of Western civilization today? Isn't it kind of like it's overly intellectual? We're fighting with each other all the time, and paranoid, and we're skeptical of any belief system, and it's all a big illusion, and it's all messed up, and screw it, let's party, right? That's what everybody's like, I feel like. The peoples of the Western world, the beneficiaries of Greek culture, had a revered tradition of a great past. They could contemplate the inheritance of great accomplishments in philosophy, art, literature, and political progress. But with all these achievements, they had no soul satisfying religion. Their spiritual longings remained unsatisfied. Mhm. Upon such a stage of human society, the teachings of Jesus, embraced in the Christian message, were suddenly thrust. A new order of living was thus presented to the hungry hearts of these Western peoples. This situation meant immediate conflict between the older religious practices and the new Christianized version of Jesus' message to the world. Okay, such a conflict must result in either decided victory for the new or for the old, or in some degree of compromise. Yep, those would be the choices. History shows that the struggle ended in compromise. Okay, so there's conflict between the older religious practices and the new Christianized message. Christianity presumed to embrace too much for any one people to assimilate in 1 or 2 generations. It was not a simple spiritual appeal, such as Jesus had presented to the souls of men. Right. Not just, love God and love your neighbor, basically. Right? It clearly struck a decided attitude on religious rituals, education, magic, medicine, art, literature, law, government, morals, sex regulation, polygamy, and in limited degree, even slavery. Wow. So this was an all encompassing had social mores attached to it. So they put on all this stuff to it. And Jesus didn't really do that. I think it's inevitable that human beings, as they go forward, attach um, ethics and standards, mores to this faith, because Jesus really didn't talk that much about morality in general, right? It was just be kind to each other and believe in whatever comes. Believe in life eternal, right? Right. So it struck a decided attitude on rituals. So they sex regulation, polygamy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So people presume to do all these things. And I think that's inevitable. Okay. But when we're doing that, because we have to do that, that's just deciding how to go forward the best way, right? And how to organize our value system. You need an operating system, right? But I think while we're doing that, we have to admonish ourselves that these are human temporal laws, and when we put these things in place, we can't have judgment. Yeah, that's really hard. That's really tricky because heaven isn't a place where there's laws. It doesn't need laws. We do. We need laws. But we have to understand that these are human things. And and that's the big mistake, because I think people put in this that these are unalterable, unviolable, you know, forever and ever. Okay. And I think that these things will morph with as the time goes by, and what works here, what works in 200, the year 200 isn't necessarily going to work in the year 2021. And I think we have to understand that. Yeah. But the spirit behind those laws is what counts, that's why we have the spirit of truth. That's so important, to bring that. Yeah, that's a great gift. Okay, let's keep going here. Christianity came not merely as a new religion, something all the Roman Empire and all the Orient were waiting for, but as a new order of human society. And as such, pretension, it quickly precipitated the social moral clash of the ages. So people fought over this. They're still fighting over it. The ideals of Jesus, as they were reinterpreted by Greek philosophy and socialized in Christianity, now boldly challenge the traditions of the human race embodied in the ethics, morality, and religions of Western civilization. At first, Christianity won as converts only the lower social and economic strata. But by the beginning of the 2nd century, the very best of Greco-Roman culture was increasingly turning to this new order of Christian belief. This new concept of the purpose of living and the goal of existence. How did this new message of Jewish origin, which had almost failed in the land of its birth, so quickly and effectively captured the very best minds of the Roman Empire? The triumph of Christianity over the philosophic religions of the mystery cults was due to, 1, organization. Paul was a great organizer, and his successors kept up the pace he set. 2, Christianity was thoroughly Hellenized. It embraced the best in Greek philosophy as well as the cream of Hebrew theology. 3, best of all, it contained a new and great ideal, the echo of the life bestowal of Jesus and the reflection of his message of salvation for all mankind. 4, the Christian leaders were willing to make such compromises with Mithraism that the better half of its adherents were won over to the Antioch cult. Okay, so this is a reason for success of Christianity. How's this go? Okay, Christian leaders are willing to make such compromise. So they compromised with Mithra, the Mithraic cult. When we talk about the Antioch cult, I think we're talking about the church in Antioch, the Christian church in Antioch. So that the Mithra, people who believed in Mithra, and this had to do probably with that, because the Mithra, that was like Persian thing. And that's the whole good versus evil thing, and died for our sins and stuff like that. And probably that Jesus was born on with the rise of the sun, something like that. So they kind of, they kind of let this bleed together a little bit. Okay, again, these are little things. This is all coming out now with this book that, we have to get this ironed out. And this is why this is so helpful, right? Okay. See, I think, well, should they have done that or should they not have done that? But I think it was okay that they did that. It's just that yeah. In order to get, it's like, taking out a loan or something. It's okay to do that, but you have to pay it back. You have to fix it. Here, a couple thousand years later. Okay, likewise did the next and later generations of Christian leaders make such further compromises with paganism, right, that even the Roman Emperor Constantine was won to the new religion, right? So they're compromising with the pagans. Okay. So, and that's not bad. See, but if they wouldn't have done that, it probably would be this little itty bitty religion somewhere in this minority thing. See? So they capitalized on that in order to grow, but now we're setting the record straight. That's what this is for. Okay, but the Christians made a shrewd bargain with the pagans in that they adopted the ritualistic pageantry of the pagan while compelling the pagan to accept the Hellenized version of Pauline Christianity. They made a better bargain with the pagans than they did with the Mithraic cult. Aha. But even in that earlier compromise, they came off more than conquerors in that they succeeded in eliminating the gross immoralities and also numerous other reprehensible practices of the Persian mystery. Okay, so they helped those Mithraic people. I don't know what they were doing. I know pagans did some serious stuff. They did sacrifice, they did ritual sex, they did, a lot of things. Okay, so we're telling them not to do that. But you can do some of your stuff where, we're going to do this. We're going to share your belief in what on December 21st is the birthday of, or December 25th or whatever is Jesus' birthday, whatever. But all that stuff doesn't really matter to them. See, now we make such a big deal out of that, big deal out of Christmas and what, they didn't care about that stuff that we make a big deal of now. They cared that these people didn't do bad things in the name of God, and they succeeded in that. That's what's important. Wisely or unwisely, these early leaders of Christianity deliberately compromised the ideals of Jesus in an effort to save and further many of his ideas. And they were eminently successful. But mistake not, these compromised ideals of the Master are still latent in his gospel, and they will eventually assert their full power upon the world. And they're preserved. They're preserved in the Bible, and they're preserved here. Even though some of this stuff got mixed in, some of the pagan stuff got mixed in, it's okay because these ideals of Jesus, I think, are more powerful and more, you know, as we grow, we recognize that. Okay, and I think right now we're at this turning point where the world is so hungry for something good, and this could be it, for something pure and something good, because everything is just every slog through the trash all day, um, and just the news and the people getting killed by crazy people, and I don't know. It's hard to deal with this a lot. This helps a lot though. Just believing that these ideals of Jesus are preserved, and they're powerful, and they will assert themselves in minds that are alive with hope for a better way, better future for mankind. Okay, because it says they will eventually assert their full power upon the world. Okay, amen. By this paganization of Christianity, the old order won many minor victories of a ritualistic nature, but the Christians gained the ascendancy in that, one, a new and enormously higher note in human morals was struck. So we're getting rid of some debased behaviors here that are accepted in their ritual cults. Okay. A new and greatly enlarged concept of God was given to the world. Aces. 3. The hope of immortality became a part of the assurance of a recognized religion. Okay, a lot of these cults, they didn't even really believe that they would achieve immortality. They believed that only like their heroes would get immortality, or the kings and the royalty would get immortality. They never expected to get, immortality. They didn't think that was, they were going to Sheol, to this gray place where they would have, just whatever, blend into this cosmic soup of souls or something. Okay, so that was an amazing thing for them. 4, Jesus of Nazareth was given to man's hungry soul. So we gave them, they had a person that God walked alongside them and knew what it was to be human, both human and divine at the same time. And that just stretches the imagination and demonstrates God's love for us. And I'm with that, God's love is not demonstrated in that, okay, he gave his only son to be sacrificed. It's demonstrated in that God wanted to walk with us and share with us in the flesh, and to know what it was like to be human. That's something that God desired. And to me, that just gives me chills. I mean, yeah, that gives me chills. So much more so than the idea that he died, his death. But that's okay. That's all getting ironed out. Okay, I'm just going to keep going and finish up. Many of the great truths taught by Jesus were almost lost in these early compromises, but they yet slumber in this religion of paganized Christianity, which was in turn the Pauline version of the life and teachings of the Son of Man. And Christianity, even before it was paganized, was first thoroughly Hellenized. So before it came to the pagan, the Mithras and the Romans, it was imbued with the higher philosophy of people like Rodin, okay, and the Greek philosophers, okay, saw value in this. So the highest elements were in it before it was compromised with these pagan elements. Okay, so that might be an important sequence of events. If it happened the other way around, it might not have been successful. So all these things, they can see God's hand moving in this through these course of events. Okay, thoroughly Hellenized. Where was that at? Christianity owes much, very much, to the Greeks. It was a Greek from Egypt who so bravely stood up at Nicaea and so fearlessly challenged this assembly that it dared not so obscure the concept of the nature of Jesus that the real truth of his bestowal might have been in danger of being lost to the world. This Greek's name was Athanasius. Oh my gosh, I got to look that up. I had no idea. Okay, so he stood up to them. And but for the eloquence and the logic of this believer, the persuasions of Arius would have triumphed. The Arian heresy, I know a little bit about the Arian heresy. That was that they didn't want they didn't want to believe in the divine nature of Jesus. They wanted to believe God was just God. Just God. They didn't want to. It was non-Trinitarian. I believe that's it. And they didn't want to believe in the divine nature of the Son of Man. They wanted to get that out of it. Right. Let me look that up just quick. I know I'm being a pain. I'm just going to look it up just quick. The Arian heresy. I just don't want to mislead you. I want to be sure. Arianism is a Christological doctrine first attributed to Arius. Arian theology holds that the Son of God is not co-eternal with God the Father and is distinct from the Father and therefore subordinate to him. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so that was good. Athanasius. Okay, I got to find it. I'm going to let you look that up on your own because I'm sure you're going to go forth and have a wonderful day. And we'll see you next time. Okay, bye.